What's going on, guys? What's happening? Happy Sunday. I hope you lot are doing all well. Peace and blessings to all of you lot. Let me know what you lot been up to over the weekend. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here. Apologies for the lack of content, guys. As some of you may or may not know, I'm in the process of maybe getting an MCL surgery. So I have an MCL injury. So some days, I'm not gonna lie, guys, it's difficult to sit down and make content. It's really, really difficult. But we're trying to persevere, we're trying to push through, dosing up on the painkillers, all of that stuff, just to bring you lot the content and daily dose of minute. We got so much to talk about that has happened over the last day and a bit. So make sure you guys hit the like button on your way in. Marcus Rashford, for me, I don't think I've seen a player who is more desperate to join Barcelona than Marcus Rashford right now. We're going to talk about his recent interview. We're going to talk about the possibility of whether Barcelona can actually sign him. It is reported that Barcelona are looking at him as a backup player because they want to stock up on some quality wingers. But we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about reports about Kolo Muani being linked to Manchester United as well as Chelsea. But we do know that he's been doing well at Juve and PSG want a big fee for him. So maybe Juve cannot afford to buy him on those terms. Maybe they might look at another loan deal. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Jadon Sancho. We're going to talk about Antony. We're going to talk about some other players that have been recently linked in the last day or so to Manchester United and how slow this Brian Mbeumo thing is moving, guys. I'm not being funny now. It's been nearly 3 weeks since the David Ornstein bomber. Man United put in one bid, and we haven't really heard much or really anything else about the Brian Mbeumo deal. So I'm a little bit skeptical on that. Now, I do know that, because of the financial year, a lot of teams tend to, go to make their moves after July the 1st, which is the new financial year. But I'm a little bit impatient. Just a tiny bit, but I don't know if that's me more so being impatient with the lack of outgoings on Manchester United's end, or is it the fact that I think Man United have moved relatively slow for the Brian Mbeumo deal. So we're going to talk about that, but of course, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe as well if you are new here, and also, guys, let me know where you are watching from. Let me know where in the world you guys are watching from. Let's start with Kolo Muani. We'll start with the Kolo Muani talks because it's not the first time he's popped up in a conversation for Manchester United. He was a name that popped up in the January transfer window when he ended up going on Juve to loan. And a lot of people, I think a lot of fans at the time, what I saw was the lack of interest of United making a move for Kolo Muani. Now, one thing I will say is that I think a lot of people's thoughts on Kolo Muani is hindered by that one World Cup moment. If you don't know what I'm talking about, that one moment up against Emi Martinez to win France the game in extra time, I feel like a lot of people's thoughts on Kolo Muani is hindered by that. It's also on the fact that he has not excelled at his time at PSG. He's not excelled, nor has Gonzalo Ramos, and a lot of other players didn't excel, and PSG have looked to move them on. But I actually like the fact that he picked going to Juventus out of all the other teams that were linked to him. Chelsea and Man United are a team, according to L'Equipe. According to L'Equipe, Manchester United and Chelsea are eyeing Kolo Muani for a summer move, but he's publicly said that he wants to stay at Juve. Now, I think the only thing, or the main thing, is probably the financial implications for Juventus. PSG are probably looking at about 80 million. They spent about 80 million on him. They're probably looking to recoup exactly what they paid for him. And somebody out there, I promise you guys, someone out there will pay that price tag. It just seems like PSG always tend to have a way with getting whatever they demand. Man United did it with Ugarte. They did it with RB Leipzig and Xavi Simons. They might do it with Kolo Muani as well. Now, I don't think there's much truth to this, just because I feel like in the summer transfer window, or just transfer windows in general, I feel like Manchester United are always linked to a heap of teams. There's never a team, in my opinion, that has been linked to as many players as Manchester United have. This summer transfer, I don't think the names have been that much, but definitely I think between January and summer, the last summer, Man United have been linked to so many players, and it's quite funny. No number 9 was successful at PSG. They don't fit their system. I mean, under Luis Enrique, yes, I would say Luis Enrique clearly his system works best and thrives best without an out-and-out 9. I don't know. Sometimes I watch Kolo Muani, I don't feel like he's an out-and-out number 9. Sometimes I feel like he can be a very good second striker. But also, I'm a very traditionalist when it comes to number 9s. I like a specific type of profile as a number 9. I want you to just be in the box, be an aerial threat, be a physical dominance against the centre-backs. Not all number 9s nowadays are like that. Do I think that he would suit Manchester United? I don't think so. But also, I'm slowly getting more skeptical that Manchester United might actually not end up with a striker this summer. Like, the more the window continues, and yes, the kind of the consensus that we're covering is a week or two, but I don't think that United are going to end up with a striker. A big part of me has this gut feeling that we're going to get Bryan and Mbeumo, and we're going to spend the rest of the window scavenging for pennies to try to bring in a couple of more players. And by scavenging for pennies, I mean, trying to get Antony out, trying to get Sancho out, trying to get Marcus Rashford out, trying to get, maybe Rasmus Højlund out or Garnacho out, whoever, trying to get all these players out. And I do think when you become heavily reliant on a sell to buy format in the transfer window, and this ain't really Amorim's fault. It's not really Amorim's fault. It's just the way that Man United have been run for some time now that has caused this. But when you are heavily reliant on a sell to buy transfer window, you end up missing out on, I think, your main targets and your big targets, because there's other teams in the window that will move quicker. They'll get the job done a lot quicker. And I know a lot of people are looking at Manchester City. I know a lot of people are looking at Liverpool and thinking, okay, these lot are moving quite quick. But, Liverpool are a well-run club. As much as you might not want to admit it, Liverpool are a well-run club. They went into the transfer window before it even started with no Club World Cup to play, but they had, a Premier League title on their back. They had, a decent run in the Champions League, and an Arne Slot manager that can clearly sell something to people. They can get their transfers done quickly. And the worst thing is about Liverpool, guys, is that they got Frimpong in, they got Kerkez in, they've got Florian Wirtz in. They're set to bring Mark Gahey in, and there's reports about Alexander Isak. Like that, if Liverpool ended with those 5 players in the summer transfer window, that is probably, I think, one of the best summer transfer windows that I've ever seen in my time watching football, especially in the last 20 years. And I know a lot of United fans look at that and think, why can't we move like that? Why are we? But unfortunately, Man United are not a well-run club. We're not a well-run club. We haven't been a well-run club. And for so long, and this is not me putting faith in Ineos, because I've already said this summer transfer window for me is a big situation to assess what it is Ineos want to implement in terms of how their legacy will be built. And if they can't, if you're telling me that the Bryan and Mbeumo situation, you're still in talks and you're still not edging any closer. I've seen some reports that say United are edging closer, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It sounds like it's been radio silence for the last couple of weeks. And with the fact that Spurs signed Matthias Tell, and they're linked to signing Semenyo, that makes me think that they've moved away from Bryan and Mbeumo as well. But who's to say that the deal doesn't fall through? That is me. That is the reason, one reason why I'm very skeptical. But in terms of Kolo Muani, I don't think there's anything in this. I'll be honest. It sounds like what a lot of clubs and managers do. Sorry, not managers, but like clubs and agents is, when, PSG probably want to sell him. So they're probably reporting that there's teams in the Premier League that want him. It's not rocket science, guys. It's forcing Juve's hand. The same thing with, Emi Martinez, who we're going to speak about as well. But even with Emi Martinez, it's been reported that Manchester United are not looking at a deal for Emi Martinez. And this is coming from the Telegraph. It's also been reported that a heavy part of this Emi Martinez news is that, his agents are pushing this narrative and pushing this story. Whether he wants out of Aston Villa or not, that's a different conversation. But there is clearly no substance to this for Manchester United wanting Emi Martinez. I'm not going to lie, the goalkeeper market is cooked. As the kids would say, guys, the goalkeeper market is cooked. There's not really any proficient and prolific goalkeepers out there that set themselves aside from many. Like, again, I hate to mention Liverpool, but Liverpool knew Alisson was going to depart at some point, and they were, by preparing to ease him out, they made a move last summer to sign Mamardashvili off the back of a great international competition for his national team. And he might not have been, you know, a well-known household name, but after that competition, he was a well-known goalkeeper. And they moved quickly to get that done for a reasonable fee. That's how quick and how responsible clubs move. Now, with Manchester United, I think, what is the problem when it comes to potentially signing a goalkeeper? And I've already said £40 million for Emi Martinez. There is no way you go to Aston Villa with 40 million to spend and you walk away with Emi Martinez. That for me is ridiculous. You walk away with Amadou Onana. That is it. That's my opinion. What Manchester United could do with. Would they do it? Probably not. But even on the flip side, the other guy called Onana that Manchester United have, there's no certainty to him leaving, and he's publicly said that he wants to stay at Manchester United as well. And to be honest, bar Marcus Rashford, I don't think anybody has publicly come out saying that they want to go elsewhere. Like, Højlund has said he wants to stay. You know, all these players are coming out publicly saying they want to stay. And Anna has said it in a conversation, I think it was, that he had in Africa recently. I saw a clip going around of him saying, you know, we'll see what happens, but as far as I'm concerned, I want to stay at Manchester United. And I just think, similar to the Kolo Muani stuff, I don't think there's really much substance to the Emi Martinez thing. Big up to Wesley, says, how you doing in your recovery of your ACL, Mina? It's an MCL. It's not ACL. I mean, there's no difference. It's still your knee, but the ACL is like the center of your knee, and the MCL is the inside of your knee, so like on the side. How's my recovery going? It's been really difficult. I have a doctor's appointment. I have physiotherapy on Tuesday morning, I think, and then I'm waiting for an MRI to see the level of the tear or if it's a sprain. And once I have that, and once I have my appointment with my physio, I will know more about whether I will need surgery or not. Hopefully I don't need surgery, guys, because I saw that the recovery time for surgery is about 6 weeks post-op. You can start, like, basically walking without crutches. Or, you still use your crutches, but you take off your brace. I've got a brace right now. And, like, I don't have I can't afford, guys. Not money-wise, because we don't pay for healthcare in the UK, but I can't afford to be injured throughout the summer because the Women's Euros is happening. I have shoots. I have so many stuff. So I'm hoping once I have my appointment and I have my scan, it's not a tear and it's just a sprain and it just heals by itself. Because if it's a tear, then it will have to, I'll have to have surgery, and I don't want to. How did it happen? I injured myself running. It's funny because it's not funny because I'm an idiot, guys. I injured myself running. It was very painful. I didn't think much of it. So the next day I went for a 5-kilometer walk. And then the day after that, I went for another 5K run. The day after that, I went for another long walk, like as part of my exercise for the day. So for 3 days in a row, I basically did some form of movement. And every day I was just provoking it even more. And by the time it was the 3rd day and my knee was the size of a football and it was swollen, and I was like, what the hell is going on? I just thought it was a stretching problem. I realized I can't even walk anymore. I'm in so much pain. I waited a couple of days, went to the hospital. The doctor was like to me, you idiot. Like, why the hell would you work out after you've already injured yourself? I said, oh, sorry. I didn't think it was a big injury. I just thought maybe I didn't stretch properly. So the next time I ran, I made sure I stretched. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. You probably didn't stretch before running. I did. I do a good 10, near enough to a 10-minute warm up when I go for a run. A lot of stretches. The thing is, I've had I had a knee problem when I was younger, when I used to play football. And I always make sure I stretch properly, stretch my ankle, do good stretches for my knee, for my hip, for my ankle, whenever I do any form of exercise, because, I've learned my mistakes. I said it the last time, don't run outside. It's horrible for your knees and your hips. Don't worry, Fillmore. I've learned my mistake. I've learned my mistake. I will not be, even if I recover from this, God willing, even if I recover from this, I will not be I will not be running outside anymore. I'm going to stick to, I have a medical condition, guys, that impacts my joints. So my doctor was like to me, you shouldn't even be running on concrete in the first place. So I'm going to stick to a treadmill. We're about to call you Mina Shaw. Nah, I don't get injured that often. I am dreading the thought of having to have surgery, guys, because the last time I had surgery was 2016 I had surgery, so near enough to 10 years. And the recovery for that was just so long. Yeah. Word of advice, guys. If you are of a certain age, yeah, but in your head you tell yourself you're younger than what you actually are, your body is your real age. No matter what you tell yourself, your body is your real age. So your knees, your hip, your back, you might tell yourself you're 20 in your head, but your knees knows your real age, and your hips know your real age, and your back knows your real age. That's what I've learned. But the last couple of days I've not been great. And I've just been trying to take it easy. So that's why I haven't really been putting out a lot of content as compared to like the beginning of the transfer window. And I'm still trying to stream. So like right now I'm sitting with my leg up straight. It's just the inconvenience. But anyways, I'm gonna vibe with you lot. So low key, it kind of makes it a bit more bearable. It makes it a bit more bearable. You need to take up swimming, Mina. Listen, Shane, if I tell you the truth, I can't swim. It's not that I can't swim. I can swim. I just have a fear of water. And I know you lot are going to laugh at me, but I genuinely have I'm the kind of person where if I go into the pool, if I go into a swimming pool, or if I jump into the ocean, I will start panicking before I get the opportunity to start swimming, and then I'll kill myself. So I just don't go swimming. I don't go in the ocean. There's been many times I've been on holiday to beautiful countries, beautiful oceans, you know, and I just sit on a boat and I enjoy the water from there, because I'm like, I'm not, no way am I jumping in water. Same minute I got traumatized as a kid. I don't even know what traumatized me from swimming. You know what it is? You guys are gonna laugh, but I genuinely have convinced myself that if I'm gonna die drowning. So I just avoid swimming. There's times I go on holiday. When I go on holiday, I don't swim. I don't do water activities. Never touched a jet ski. Never done any of that. If I go with family and they're all going jet skiing, I will just wait for them on the beach and just wave at them from a distance. I'm not going near the water, because one time I drop off and the panic will make me drown. Wear a flotation vest. Even wearing like a vest, or like having the stuff that kids usually have. I don't know. I'm just scared of it. Terrified of taking baths. Who said I'm terrified of taking baths? I said the thing is, my fear is deep water. My fear is in deep water. We saw you in a boat in Malaysia. Exactly. That day when I was in Malaysia. No, it wasn't Malaysia. I was actually in Thailand when I was on the boat. I stayed on the boat, and all my family jumped in the water, and I held everyone's stuff. I held everyone's stuff. A fear of water. I just spat my drink out. You lot need to leave me alone, man. This is why I don't. It's just a fear of deep water. It's not a fear, because I can go in a pool today and stand in a pool, but the deeper it gets, the more I'll start to panic. And then the second that I can't feel the ground, I'm dead. Because the panic will stop you from swimming, because you're panicking. You know, if you've ever had swimming classes as a kid, your swimming teacher will always tell you, stop, like calm down, don't panic. Because the second you start panicking, you do not know how to swim. You won't be able to use your arms and your legs. Camera person on holiday. That is my designated job. Camera person. I take the best pictures. I hold everyone's stuff. I make sure it don't get lost. I take care of it. Give me a book and I'll sit on the beach, and you lot can just go run into the ocean. I'm okay with that. And the one thing it annoys me is that I would love to jet ski one day, but it's just the thought of falling off a jet ski in the middle of the ocean, and then I'm dead. But anyways, let's talk football, guys. Let's talk football. Let's talk. You know what? Uthman just brought it up here, so let's actually let's come back to this conversation, and we will start with this conversation here. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you've just come through. Oh my God. I thought yesterday I was like reading false stuff. I saw an interview that he did with Marcus Rashford did an interview with, I think it was like some Spanish YouTubers. I think that's what they are. I think they are Spanish YouTubers. And he spoke about the prospect of playing with Lamine Yamal. He spoke about Lamine Yamal, basically. And he was asked by, so it's a Spanish influencer called Xavi Ruiz. When he was asked about the prospect of playing with Yamal in an interview, Rashford said, yeah, for sure. Everyone wants to play with the best. Hopefully, we will see. He then went on to praise Lamine Yamal quite a bit. And I think everyone has taken this as a potential, they're calling it, as the kids would say, twerking, quotation marks. But he's publicly saying that he wants to go to Barcelona. And it's been reported by media in Spain, 2 days ago, that Marcus Rashford's camp have been in talks with Barcelona in the last couple of days. There's nothing really cemented. There's no agreement in place. It's been confirmed as well. What we know is that Marcus Rashford is willingly ready to take a pay cut to go to Barcelona. And it's been reported by media in Barcelona that the arrival of Nico Williams, which is about to happen, they're in final talks with Athletic Club to get that done. But the arrival of Nico Williams does not prevent Barcelona from market opportunities, including Marcus Rashford. Rashford is very keen on joining Barcelona and he is willing to wait. He's willing to take a pay cut. Now he's publicly said that he'd love to play with Lamine Yamal. He said everyone wants to play with the best and he wants to play with and we'll see if he gets the opportunity to do so. And I think that I think that kind of just sums up where Marcus Rashford is in his career right now. I promise you guys, you don't know I like Marcus Rashford, yeah? But I've said time and time again, it's a time maybe that Man United, move him on. But if Barcelona do not sign him, I have a feeling he will end up with another Aston Villa-esque moment. Maybe not necessarily Aston Villa, but maybe another English team on loan that are not competitive, like when Lingard went to West Ham, if you guys remember, because right now it sounds like he's put all his eggs in that one basket of joining Barcelona. Bayern Munich are not looking at him. Bayern Munich are looking at Rafael Leao. I mean, they've been snubbed by Nico Williams because of Barcelona and they're in need of a left winger, and they're looking at Rafael Leao because he's ready to leave AC Milan. I don't know if AC Milan then becomes a destination for Marcus Rashford, given the fact that quite a few English players have gone there. Fikayo Tomori, Tammy Abrahams, Loftus-Cheeks, Kyle Walker went there on loan as well. And I really do think that Marcus Rashford's future at Manchester United is finished. Like, it's one thing when Manchester United and Ineos were kind of putting stories out there about his behavior, and if you don't remember, just before he was exiled from the team, it was reported in the media, and I think this is stories from Ineos about trying to move him on, and some people call it character assassination, etc. But since that, and then he comes out and does that sit down with with Henry Winter, saying, maybe I need a new challenge. And 6 months later, you didn't have the most impressive loan spell. I think Antony and Sancho probably had better loan spells than he did. Sancho won a trophy with Chelsea. And Marcus Rashford wasn't as impactful as Asensio, who was also on loan at Aston Villa as well. But taking all of that into consideration, and now you've publicly said during, the off season that, you'd love to play with a player like Lamine Yamal, and we'll see if that happens. I really think that Marcus Rashford is pushing to leave Manchester United. And the fact that he's willing to take a pay cut only to join Barcelona, I don't know if you guys have heard that, but I read it last week that Marcus Rashford is willing to facilitate a pay cut just to join Barcelona. But if it's any other destination, he's not willing to take a pay cut. Similar to, you know, the Jadon Sancho situation too. I really want to know if there's any Barcelona fans in the chat, whether they take him. I think they would take him just for quality and depth. Ansu Fati is leaving. You know, they got Nico Williams, they got Rafinha, they got Yamal. You know, they got Lewandowski, they got Ferran Torres, they got Dani Olmo. I think they would take him for depth, but that's it. I don't think it has to be, in my opinion, if I put on a Barcelona hat and I think, what would Barca fans want? They would want him for quality in depth because he's a decent player. He's a good player. But I don't think they would take him at a 300k a week and 50 million price tag. I don't think they would do that. If he takes a pay cut, which he said he's willing to do, they might look and think, okay, 30 million, 35 million is a reasonable fee for a player that we're going to have as backup, who has quality, who has over 10 years experience, etc., etc. Fillmore says we are at a point where Marcus really wants a pay reduction to join Barca, then terminate your contract with United and go on a free. Maybe you'll get a better contract. He'll never walk away from the money that United are paying him. He has to wait until the end of the window for a loan deal. I genuinely think it could be a situation like the last window where it's a deadline day kind of exit, with the way that Sancho left on a deadline day back in the summer. I think it could be the same with Marcus Rashford. And I remember reading a report the other day on the Mirror saying that Marcus Rashford, amongst a few other players, Ruben Amorim has asked for them to not be part of the preseason tour. And the fact that I knew Marcus Rashford for sure was leaving when it was reported that Cunha was taking the number 10 shirt. That kind of confirmed it to me. There's no way that he stays and then takes a new number, you know, number 19 that he used to wear or something like that. There's no way that happens. When Cunha was announced and that he was going to wear number 9, that kind of solidified to me that any possible way United will get him out of the door by any means necessary. And that's going to be another... Let me ask you a question. I'm going to read your comments, but I want to hear your answer to this. Are you lot sad with the way that the Rashford situation has turned out? Because I've said this before, like, Marcus Rashford's come up was amazing to watch as a Manchester United fan, because, you know, the sentimental part of it. For me, I always said, like, for me, in my head, Rashford was meant to pick up major trophies with him. I remember when they won the Europa League, then, you know, many years later, won the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. I was happy for United. I was happy for him, but I always envisioned for him to be a one-team player, like other players that have come and gone from Manchester United. That, for me, was always envisioned. And the way that his situation has played out in the last 2 years has been unfortunate. But I think his biggest kind of... I think the downfall of Marcus Rashford started on this new contract that he got, where you can look at it on both sides and think, okay, it was reported by The Athletic in that kind of in-depth article that they did that under Erik ten Hag, the summer that they brought Rasmus Højlund off the back of his 30-plus GA, you know, it was reported that he was promised, him and Bruno were both promised a competitive team would be created. And in a way, I think United have failed him and Bruno, but also he has failed Manchester United. He has failed Manchester United. Show says, I'm not sad about it, just done with it at this point. We've had too much drama at this club with too many players. Flav says, honestly, no. Wesley says, I've been sobbing non-stop since I saw that interview last night. Rashford is not even Girona level. I think he is Girona level. Come on, let's be realistic. Deco is willing to get Rashford because he knows they can save the money in transfer fees. Nico is not going to Barca yet because he has been getting so much flack by home fans and it's a family club. Nico Williams is going to Barcelona for sure. He's, in my opinion, he's definitely going to Barcelona. They've agreed personal terms. By the way, they've agreed personal terms. I think it's like 7 to 8 million euros a year, and Bayern Munich are offering him like 10, 11, and he's not budging. He wants to join Barcelona, and it makes sense. You know, he's from Spain. He wants to play for one of the biggest clubs in Spain. I think the transfer fee between Athletic Club and Barca is causing a hindrance right now. He's got a release clause. Barcelona want to pay way more than his release clause, but that will allow them to pay it over a period of time. They don't trust Barca financially. So there's a whole financial mishap that's happening. But I think Nico Williams will join there. And I don't ever believe, in my opinion, that Marcus Rashford was number one priority for Barcelona. I don't think that. I think it was always Nico Williams. They were linked to him last summer. They came back again for him this summer. And I think they just want to strengthen in alternative ways, especially with the likes of, you know, Ansu Fati probably going to Monaco as well. He's been given everything, while at United, players have been played in different positions to accommodate him. He's averaged essentially 8 Prem goals a season, and we're acting like he's been great. I saw in the interview, for those of you that don't know what we're talking about, the interview, he did an interview with a Spanish big football influencer called Javi Ruiz, and he spoke about Lamine Yamal and how, you know, Lamine Yamal is best player in the world and how he'd love to play with him. And, you know, we'll see. He said, we'll see if, you know, I get the chance to play with him. He was asked about, you know, his positioning and, you know, his striker kind of ability. And he said that he likes to play through the middle. And that kind of made me laugh, right? The reason why that kind of made me laugh is, I don't know if you lot remember, cast your minds back to, I think it was Eric Ten Hag's second year. He did an interview with Gary Neville walking through a park. I think it was during preseason or before preseason. And he spoke about how so many managers have tried to play him through the middle, Mourinho, etc., Oli, and he doesn't like to play through the middle. The England national team, he doesn't like to play as a 9. He prefers to play as a left winger. And now he's saying, I like to play through the middle. And do you know why he's saying this? The reason why he's saying this is because obviously they have Ferran Torres that is a backup to Lewandowski. But one thing about Hansi Flick, if you lot have watched Barcelona, is that he, you know, without Lewandowski, they play a lot more fluid in their front line because there's a lot more pace. So he's probably thinking, if I say that I like to play as a number 9 through the middle, that increases my chances of going to Barcelona because I can play through the middle for them. I got, you know, Nico Williams on my left and Rafinha in the 10 and Yamal on my right. That's just pure pace in that front 4. Caught like a rat on the highway. You hated playing number 9 for Manchester United. I mean, his best performance for Manchester United under Ruben Amorim, although he didn't have a lot of appearances under Amorim, but his best performance for Manchester United and Ruben Amorim was he was playing in one of the 2 10 roles, but it was really Xerxes playing in the 10 and he was playing more up front. But the fact that he said that in the interview, that kind of made me chuckle and that kind of made me laugh. Big up to Sheila with the super chat. No comment, just the super chat. Much love, Sheila. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you lot want to join the membership club, by the way, you can. It's the pinned comment in the chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your custom member content, and of course, you get to support the growth of the channel, the ever-growing channel here, the road to 16K. We are on path to it. If you want to support the channel in alternative ways, you can by sending in super chats with your comments, with your questions, with your thoughts, or just to show some love. We've got a super chat goal on the stream today. You lot can help reach that. And if you want to support the channel in an easy way, you can just hit the like button. We've got over 150 people here. We're not even on 100 likes yet. You guys know I'm live every single day. We've got a video that usually used to drop every day, but you know, now that I'm injured, there's not a video every single day. Now, I actually have a quick question to ask you guys. I want to kind of gauge the time zones in the chat today. What's the time? What is the time where you're watching right now? Because it's 4:41 here in the UK, and I am considering doing a live stream early morning every single day. And when I say early morning, I mean 7 a.m. UK time, which I know if you're in America, that's basically, depending where you are in America, that's either in early hours of the morning. Depending on where you are in the Middle East, that's like, you know, that's still morning, but not early morning. If you are in the Far East Asia, that's like afternoon time. If you're in Africa, it's morning time. So I'm considering to do 7:30 maybe UK time. Do like because UV are live at 9, so I'm not going live at 9. So it has to be before that. So I'm considering it. But based on this on the chat right now, a lot of you lot in America. Damn. And I think there's a lot of people in like Asia as well as Africa, like the Middle East. If you're in the Middle East, by the way, please stay safe, guys, because right now the world is on a madness. Let me ask you a question on the Marcus Rashford thing. If he doesn't get that move to Barcelona, how do you expect Man United to resolve it? Do you think Man United should force him out, where it's a situation if you know, regardless of whatever, you're leaving the club? So if we get an offer for you today from, I don't know, from flipping Malmö FC in Sweden, we will accept that offer. Should it be a situation treated like that, where it's by any means necessary Manchester United get him out, because I, for one, do not see Marcus Rashford ever being included back in Amorim's squad. I don't see it. Do I agree with it? To an extent. To an extent. Do I think that Man United need quality in depth? 100%. Do I think United are going to go out and buy quality in depth? I don't think so. But I also believe that this merry-go-round that United have been on with players for so long, sometimes it's just good to just wrap it up. Just wrap it up. You know, there's so many players as well in the past that United had been on a merry-go-round with, where every summer, you know, they're going to leave and then they don't. And then eventually they leave on a free. And I feel like with players like Sancho, United might be willing to just let him on a free leave him on a free next summer. But a player like Rashford, they got to cash in on him financially because it's 100% profit. So even if they make 30 million, that's 30 million profit that they can report. Sell him to Como. You know what, Matthew? I don't know why Como haven't come in for him. Especially with, I know Fabregas is touted to be a replacement for Pep Guardiola. But I don't know why a team like Como, or even like someone mentioned in the chat, like Girona, even the fact for me that, you know, Antony was willing to go to Betis, who weren't a big contending team, but he just wants to play. And now he's totally pushing to go to Betis by any means necessary. That just means that to me just shows Antony wants to still play football. I don't know if Marcus Rashford limited himself to just going to Barcelona, i.e. Barca's the only place I'm willing to take a pay cut for. I don't know if that limits his opportunities of where he can go in the summer, because there might be a lot of teams that are interested in Marcus Rashford. But if they see that he's willing to take a pay cut for only one team because that's the destination he wants to go to, that might put teams off of going for him, because he's already on. Then they'll realize he's on a high salary. Big up to Aminol with the super chat, says I have more chance going Barca on Jet 2 than Rashford. Jet 2 holidays to Barcelona. I wonder how much that would cost. Amorim noticed the error of his ways and how trigger happy he was at banishing certain players. I can see him rebuilding with Man United if both him and Amorim are willing to put their egos aside. I will be so honest, guys. I'll be so honest with the Marcus Rashford thing. I think it's it's bigger than Amorim. I think it's bigger than Amorim. I think Amorim made the decision to do what he did, but I think it's bigger than Amorim. And I don't want to. You lot know I love a good conspiracy theory. If you lot watch the channel often, you know I love a good conspiracy theory. But I don't think it's a coincidence that a manager like Amorim, who was praised for, you know, making do with less at Sporting in his time there, and, you know, his ability to cut 10, 11, 12 players out of a squad, gets the job at Manchester United. And the first player that is on the chopping block is one of the higher earned players. Another high-earned player like Casemiro on the chopping block. The players that are earning a lot. Mason Mount, I can't really say much because the guy's never fit. But I don't think it's solely on Amorim. I think this is an Ineos decision. I genuinely think it's been an Ineos decision. Let me see that. He's not willing to get a pay cut. Fillmore says, I'll do to him what Erik ten Hag did to Sancho. There's nothing else we can do. Even if Amorim doesn't work out, Rashford has to go. Wow. Here comes Minna, top red attitude by still talking about crap like Rashford. Calling people crap is not really nice, is it? It's not really nice. You can criticize a player, any player, without being insulting. You don't know the rules on my channel. You have to be respectful. Just, you know, be respectful. That goalkeeper comment was the nail in the coffin. Not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie though. That goalkeeper comment, I remember when United were throwing away chances left, right, and center. I was thinking, yo, where's that goalkeeper that could score these chances for us? Because that was, and you know what? I will say one thing. You lot know that goalkeeper comment from Amorim was taken out of context. And that's the one thing I'll always say with aggregators online, is that whenever you guys see a quote from a manager, make sure you lot watch the whole clip. Because he didn't say that the keeper, you know, was better than Rashford or whatever. He didn't even mention Rashford per name. He was asked about Rashford, and Amorim said, and this is not me defending Amorim, but I just have to make it clear what he actually said. Ruben Amorim said, I will play my 63-year-old goalkeeper coach before I play anyone that doesn't work hard in training. So that is applicable to anybody, basically. But obviously, the question itself that was asked from the journalist that he was responding to was about Marcus Rashford. So people took that and ran with it. But I think that was the final nail in the coffin. That's when I realized that Ruben Amorim don't want this guy back. And I don't even think Marcus Rashford is waiting to outlive Amorim, because you guys know, if Marcus Rashford, if Harry Maguire, if Luke Shaw still remain at the club and Amorim gets sacked, people are going to be like, these guys, this core of players that have got X number of managers sacked, why are they still at the club? So Rashford has to go. Rashford, for me, has to go. This has nothing to do with Amorim. It was 100% on Ineos. They've been trying to cut the wages down. They're also looking at productivity. Rashford hasn't produced in 2 years. Thank you, Ineos. Big up to Lil Yo-Yo, says, can't lie, the interview wasn't ideal. You know what it is? Yeah, I just have a genuine question. Did he not get like the questions vetted before he sat down with a bunch of football influencers and did a Q&A? Because I work in the football space, guys. I work in the space of media, yeah, and I can never interview a player. This is why I'm looking at Marcus Rashford a little bit sideways. I could never interview a player without having the questions vetted by his rep, or most of the time they've got like a media partner, media rep that deals with all the media stuff. So you can never ever, like, I've interviewed so many players, guys. I've interviewed so many players in my lifetime. And I remember doing an interview. When I interviewed Arnott Danjuma, when I got this signed shirt, I remember his PR manager was sitting with us the whole interview. And if I asked a question that was the kind of like I'm treading on water, or I'm treading on eggshells, or whatever you want to say, the PR manager would be like, yeah, can we leave that question out? No problem. So for me, it's like, you must have seen the questions, or your agent or your PR agent or whoever must have seen there's no way footballers will ever allow themselves to sit down and be blindsided with questions. So you knew that was going to come up, and you knew what your response would be. You knew how people would interpret it. You know, the Barcelona fans are eating it up because they're like, you know, yes, he wants to come to, the guy's dying to come to us. And United fans are like, okay, well, now he's already publicly said he wants a challenge, and now he's publicly saying basically he wants to go to Barcelona. Just let him go. That alters the way he answers those questions. I don't know. Before you answer, don't forget they had offered him up for sale without letting him know, or his agent. I think it's a dirty game being played by Ineos, and it's a dirty game being played by Marcus Rashford. Like, Marcus Rashford's camp is just playing the game that Ineos and them are playing. In my opinion, they're just playing the game that Ineos and them are playing. Jadon Sancho, everyone's favorite freedom fighter, has been linked to Napoli. He's been linked to Juventus, and now he's been linked to Fenerbahce. And Fenerbahce have inquired about the conditions to sign Jadon Sancho. Napoli are in talks, but the salary the player is demanding is too much for the Italian club. If Jadon Sancho does not reduce his salary, Napoli will not make a move. It's been confirmed that the problem for Napoli is not the transfer fee. They think the transfer fee is acceptable. They're willing to pay it. But the wages are the problem. And Jadon Sancho doesn't want to take a pay cut, I think, to go anywhere. It's been reported. You know, we know that the reason why Chelsea let him go was because of the salary situation, even though they were ready to maybe keep him potentially, but he did not want to take a pay cut. And I just have to say, the difference between Jadon Sancho and Antony is like night and day. And what I mean by that is not their playing ability. It's about the fact of it's about the fact of who wants to play football no matter what. Who wants to play football no matter what? Antony has been reported has told Manchester United that his priority is Real Betis and he wants to move there. Big up to Sully as well, who reported yesterday that Real Betis have been in direct club-to-club contact with Manchester United regarding Antony. Antony is willing to take a wage cut to facilitate the move, and it's believed that personal terms between Antony and Real Betis are not an issue. The separation currently is on the fee between the two clubs. So I think, out of all the players that are expected to leave this summer, I think we might get a here we go for Antony soon, because there is a difference in valuation for the transfer fee, but the personal terms are not a problem between him and Real Betis. The guy just wants to play football. He's managed to find himself at Real Betis, and good on him, because he's struggled. He's come out in interviews and said how much he struggled at Manchester United, and he struggled with the spotlight. He struggled with, the issues that he encountered whilst playing in the Premier League. And he's found himself again at Real Betis. He got himself a call up to the Brazil national team during the international break. And he's just enjoying playing football. And I respect that a lot, because no matter what, it didn't work out at Manchester United. And I think one thing as fans is that we have to differentiate. A player can do well at Betis, but that doesn't change what he did at Manchester United or what he didn't do. You can be happy for a player, in my opinion, to do well elsewhere, but you shouldn't cover up the fact that what he did at Manchester United was not of the standard or of the expectation of what we believed we would get. And both things can be right at the same time. Like when I see him doing well at Betis, for example, over the last 6 months, I see people saying, oh, United should bring him back. United should bring him back. But we've seen what he's done at Man United. And clearly the environment at Betis has allowed him to thrive. There is less, I think, no disrespect to Betis, but I think that there's less pressure playing at Real Betis than there is playing at Manchester United. Yes, the Spanish fans are, die hard, and they will hold their team accountable, and they will run up in training facilities and hold you accountable after the games, 100%. And the Spanish media are quite brutal sometimes. But I feel like it's only when you play for Real Madrid and Barcelona that the Spanish media are very brutal. And when you are a foreign player, so when you are not Spanish, but you are a foreign player, I feel like they're a lot more brutal. Whereas the expectation at Real Betis is, come here, do your job. If we win a trophy in the process, that's good. If we beat, some of the big teams in the process, even better. But we just have to maintain that level of just being below, the top 3 teams in Spain. Whereas at Manchester United, it's completely different. It's completely different. At Real Betis, if they're playing a team like, I don't know, I'm trying to think of like a bottom table team, but I'm trying to think of a bottom side of the table, yeah? Like Mallorca, I don't know, something like that. If Betis are playing them and they lose, no one is going to talk about it. A couple of people will, maybe Betis fans will talk about it. If Man United today lose to Burnley, end of the world. It's basically the end of the world if Man United lose to Burnley. And everyone will talk about it. Everyone will talk about your performance. So that's why I respect Antony, that he's identified the fact that, I don't want to be back at Manchester United because I found myself here. And I'm willing to he's put his money where his mouth is. I'm willing to do whatever is necessary for me to go. Whereas Jadon Sancho, complete opposite. I don't even know if Jadon Sancho is going to leave Man United, guys. I don't really know. Forget people paying 25 million for him. I don't see any club paying his salary. And it might be one of them situations where United just let him leave on a free next summer. And that for me will go down as I think Jadon's, I don't know if you lot agree, but I think if Jadon Sancho leaves on a free agent deal next summer, he is a bigger failed signing than Di Maria. That's my hot take. That would be my hot take. Because when people talk about the worst signings in the last decade at Manchester United, yeah, Di Maria pops up. In past years before that, people talk about Falcao. People talk about Lukaku. People talk about Pogba. Jadon Sancho, if he leaves as a free agent, bro, he's a bigger flop than Alexis Sanchez, 100%. 110%. He will be the worst signing in Manchester United in the last decade. And we need people. I don't even think you can put Antony in that conversation. I don't even think it's still Mount for me. I hear that. Mount is a close second. He's Yeah, Mason Mount is like a close second for me. Make sure you hit the like button. We've got over 100 people here with 7 likes off 100 likes. So please do hit the like button. Got a couple of more stuff to talk about, and then we should wrap it up. By the way, if you're in the UK, how you been enjoying the weather, guys? How have you guys been enjoying the weather if you are in the UK? Today has been bare windy, like bare windy. It's been bare windy. Big up to Aminor says with the super chat. Thank you, Aminor. All those Sancho sexuals, that's a crazy name, in our fan base can go to Juve. Is there even any Sancho fans in the fan base? Mina, thoughts on Richard Rios? We're going to talk about him. He's on the list of stuff to talk about today. Onana fighting for his place like we were fighting for relegation. Guys, Monaco have approached Onana's representatives over a potential move, but the goalkeeper is destined to stay at Manchester United and fight for his place. Everybody wants to fight. Like, I don't get it. Why does everyone want to fight for their space? It's giving Cheryl Cole fight for this love. Why does everyone who we want to get out of the door want to fight for their place? Antony's the only one who said, I don't want to fight. Bun this. Antony is like me. Yeah, if today there was World War III and we're told, everyone has to go on the battle line and everyone has to be deployed in the army, I'm not involved, mate. I'm not involved. Count me out. I'm not fighting. Onana wants to fight for his place. Woyler wants everybody wants to fight for their place rather than just saying like, Antony, peace out, guys. I'm out. I'm gone. Monaco have reportedly asked his camp to keep updated on the situation, and there's been no formal bid put in place for Onana. So that's one we have to keep an eye on. But Onana at Monaco with Pogba, Ansu Fati, I might start watching them, and I feel like Monaco might get rid of him immediately when they realize this guy's throwing the ball into his net half the time. A name that has popped up out of nowhere, absolutely nowhere, is Evan Ndicka. I don't know how to pronounce his bloody name. But he plays for Roma. And the reason why his name has popped up is that it's reported that Roma are anticipating the possibility of losing him due to interest from Newcastle United and Manchester United. And you know what? This goes back to what I was saying earlier at the beginning of the stream. I feel like everyone just puts Man United's name in conversations. Everyone just puts Manchester United's names in conversations. Nothing's going to come from it. But them is like, if we put Man United's name in it, people might believe, you know what? It might happen. Now let's talk about Richard Rios. Let's talk about Richard Rios. It's pronounced Ndicka. There you go. If you're not wondering how to pronounce his name, this is how you pronounce it. Now, I was watching Palmeiras the other day, and I liked what I saw in that game from Richard Rios. It's only about, I think it was like 60 minutes into the game, I realized this was the Richard Rios that we were linked to. I think it was back in the January window from Palmeiras, 25-year-old midfielder. And his name has popped up again for Manchester United, as it's been reported by Alfredo Pedula, who has said that Manchester United are showing serious interest in Richard Rios. This is one to watch. You know what I don't like yet? Again, I know it's the transfer window. But every time it's Manchester United are showing serious interest, is that like, but we never actually end up signing the player. It's like me saying I'm showing serious interest in a Lamborghini Urus, but you know, and I know that I will not get a Lamborghini Urus because that costs like 200,000. Now, I personally liked that one game of Palmeiras that I watched. I liked what I saw from him, but I think there's better players in Europe for cheaper prices. I saw a report that said that it's a 60 million price tag. Palmeiras they want to cash in. It's a big price tag on their end. I would like Lamine Kamara. You guys know that. You guys know Lamine Kamara is my guy, and I would like him if Man United were to sign a midfielder. But I don't know if, again, this is just teams linking Man United to players that they hope to sell. Let me see. Where did this come? What source is this coming from? About this Mason Mount stuff, because I haven't seen anything about Mason Mount, and I don't know if you lot remember a couple of weeks ago I told you guys Mason Mount was linked to Spurs. Sources told me that last summer Mason Mount was linked to joining Villa and Twitter. What? Did I just say Twitter? I'm bugging out, guys. You can see the painkillers are starting to kick in. I remember I told you lot, if you lot remember, a week or two ago, I told you lot that Mason Mount was linked to joining Aston Villa or Spurs on loan. So now if it's being reported by journalists that he could go to Aston Villa, guys, I can say to you lot, there might be some truth to it, because I know that he was linked to going last summer and United decided to give him another shot, but they wouldn't shy away from entertaining anything this summer. Mason Mount Twitter, here we go. I don't know why I just said Twitter, guys. I'm actually bugging. I'm not joking, guys. My painkillers, yeah, there's a couple left in my packet right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 left. The painkillers are starting to kick in. They're really starting to kick in, and I'm starting to get a bit oozy right now. So please ignore me when I just say stupid stuff, because I don't say stupid stuff often, but you guys know once in a while something stupid might come up. But as I was saying regarding Richard Rios, I like what I saw from him for Palmeiras in the Club World Cup, but I just don't know for the price tag of him reportedly having a 50-60 million price tag. I'm just not 100% certain on that. Is it non-drowsy, Minna? You know what? Whenever tablets are non-drowsy, it for some reason always makes me drowsy. I don't know what it is, but these are non-drowsy painkillers, yeah. But it still makes me feel a bit... Do you get it? Do you get it? It happens. Man United are just cleaning up when it comes to a bunch of young players, because Sully just posted on Twitter this saying that Manchester United are signing Harley Emsden-James. The 16-year-old is expected to join the under-18s with a fee of $1 million being paid to Southampton as compensation. Premier League gratification process is expected to go smoothly. Seen as one of the best CBs for his age, Aston Villa, Arsenal, and Chelsea were in the race. I don't want news, can I say, about academy players. If United are signing academy players, thank you for letting us know. But where is the news about Bryan Mbeumo? When are we going to find out what is happening with Bryan Mbeumo? People are going to lap this up, can I say, about us signing a new young player. All due respect, shout out to the youngsters and shout out to the academy kids. But I'm waiting to see this. This is what I'm waiting to see. This is what I want to see. This is what we were promised. We were promised a Cunha and Mbeumo 2-10 situation. It's been tomorrow it will be 3 weeks since that David Ornstein bombshell. It will be, I think, 15 days or 16 days since United made their first bid for him. It's either moving really slow or I don't know. I'm just concerned. I don't know if I'm being panicky, if I'm being reactionary, but the rate at which Man United are moving, especially with outgoings, is concerning me, because if we've placed such heavy emphasis on the summer transfer window, relying on Man United to get X number of players out of the door, and then in that same breath, everything is moving very, very slow, and United have still yet to really get anyone out. Liverpool have just managed to get £35 million for Kwanzaa. £35 million for Kwanzaa. And they got a sell-on clause, I think, as well. If Man United were today to sell a player of Kwanzaa's level from their academy, I promise you, United are selling him for like 5 million. 10 at best. At best, they're selling him 10. I also think, you know, they did Bayer Leverkusen a favor. They lined them up with like 160 million. So they're like to Bayer Leverkusen, come on, it's time for you lot to do us a favor. Fair enough. It's fair game. It's fair game. Man United did a favor to Chelsea with Mason Mount. It's time for them to make up and give us Cole Palmer. In my opinion. That's just a suggestion. I think everything falls in July. I feel like with July, a lot happens, but it still happens relatively slow. If you don't think back last year, it took how long for United to get their first signing in Xerxes? So yes, their first signing has happened a lot more sooner than last year, 100%. But I think it was reported like when the season was ending that Ruben Amorim had asked for 4 new players by the preseason tour. By the preseason tour, Amorim has asked for 4 new players. I don't even think he'll get 3. I think they might go preseason with 2 new signings, Cunha and 1 other person. The striker situation has quietened down, and suddenly the goalkeeper situation has livened up a little bit. But it's still relatively quiet for the Brian and Mbeumo situation. And to me, that's a little bit worrying. I'm not gonna lie, that's a little bit worrying. And I would like something to every time on stream, I say to you guys, when do you guys think United are gonna get the here we go? But now I've just stopped asking because I genuinely just don't know. I'm tired of trying to be optimistic, etc. You know, as some people would say, being what's it called? Giddy FC, as my guy Nuruddin would say. But listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. We just passed 100 likes, so big up to you guys. Obviously, daily dose of Minna, you guys know what it is. What do we have coming over the next couple of days? Tomorrow, again, we'll have daily dose of Minna. We will have a video dropping later this afternoon as well in the next hour or so. And then we'll have some content throughout the week. I'm going to do a pre-record with a couple of people, so we should have some stuff. And if I can get a hold of Marcel, guys, I might bring Marcel back. I haven't done a stream with Marcel in a minute, like I think nearly a year. So I'll try get Marcel on for some content. But you guys know the rules. Listen, I told you guys this week, starting this week, inshallah, God willing, I will be live on Twitch. Streaming gaming stuff, starting with Assassin's Creed Shadow, but also we'll be clipping it up for my second channel, so that is in the link of the bio of the description of this video. Big up to everyone who sent in super chats. Big up everyone that liked, got involved in the chat. You guys know what it is. I will be if anything breaks between now and tomorrow, you lot know I will be live. Keep an eye out for the new morning streams. I think I'm gonna go for 7:45 to 8:45. I think that's reasonable. Staffy, you know what? I should get Staffy on. Every time we say to each other, yeah, we'll get you on the channel and vice versa. And then I just never do it. I just never, ever do it. But you guys know the rules. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. I'll catch you guys tomorrow if there's no breaking news. Hit the like button on your way out, guys. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'm out. Peace.